Hey everybody, welcome to my channel again, Joe Jaguar. This is the conclusion of the Barska 70mm tabletop refractor. But before we just get to that, if you guys can subscribe to my channel, please, like, comment. If you know anybody that's interested in the science, astronomy, telescopes, invite them to my channel as well. Just because it's not cheap having a your own channel, you need to have a decent video camera, lighting source, and as you guys just saw, I bought that Barska just for you guys to show you, to give you a review, as well as the next two are just something that I'm buying specifically for the channel. Not that I need anything, because as most of you guys know on my first two videos, who I am and what I have, part 1 and 2, you can see I have already good quality telescopes, and but because it's the Christmas time type of thing, I want to see, is there anything good that's under $100, under 75 bucks, that new people are gonna get as gifts, or if you're thinking of buying gifts, should you just avoid this type of price range, get something better? So anyway, so it is not so cheap to do all the time, so hopefully you guys appreciate that. So share my channel. If you know anybody that would like to see it, send them the link, have them subscribe as well. Okay, good news is it's because the quarter moon, since the moon's at a quarter phase, we also call it the quarter moon. It was actually out when I did the previous video for the Barska, so I already took it outside. I got a little table, put it on. Now I'm trying to give it, I guess, everything that I can to make the scope better. I'm using the Teleview eyepieces, Palazzo's, not the cheap ones that came with it. The finder, it doesn't really matter. I can find the moon without using a finder scope anyway, so I'm not really concerned about that. I put it outside and let it climatize at 20 to 30 minutes minimum. So again, I'm giving it, more, or I'm giving it a fair shot in using better eyepieces, letting it climatize to outside. That way I'm giving it the best scenario to see if it's going to give some decent view. So anyway, took a look at the moon in a 20 mil Palazzo, and the moon was okay. It was pretty good. The slow motion controls worked pretty good. I was able to use that. Most tripods, just have the pan handle, so it's kind of, there's no micro movement there. So that was actually okay. And then I went to medium power, 11 millimeter Teleview Palazzo. Then I went to the 11 with a 2 times Teleview Barlow. So my conclusion is the moon is wasn't even that great, except for the very low power. The other ones, the medium and high power, it was kind of, well, not fuzzy, but it wasn't really clear. So I'm going to say, forget about it. Don't even, if you're thinking of getting that scope, I don't think it's a good buy. I mean, if you can't even see the moon crystal clear, and go down to the craters and the mountain ranges and the stuff like that, it's not going to work on anything, that's way dimmer than the moon or further away, like the planets and clusters. It won't work. So again, I used good eyepieces. I'm going to climatize, so I'm giving it as much benefit of a doubt. I'm using good stuff with it, just to give it a reasonable, I guess, review, see if it would do well, and it's not. So I would say don't even bother if you're thinking the Barska 70 millimeter refractor, even though you could still see some fringing of color, which is to be expected on a scope that's a focal ratio 5.7. But I guess I was really hoping it would do okay in this price range, at least as my first video shows, maybe at least to whet your appetite on a few things at least. But it's not. The moon's not even, it was only on the low power, it was okay, but once you start zooming up there, it wasn't crystal clear. I couldn't see any craters, mountain ranges. It wasn't so fuzzy, but it was fuzzy enough that you know, you just see the moon. Um, I don't think anybody would be happy with it. And again, the moon is the closest thing. So if it can't do well on that with good eyepieces and letting it climatize to outside, it's not going to be any good. So I'm going to say thumbs down to that scope. Don't even bother getting it. I think it'll be better. Wait till my next video. So we're going to try the 70 millimeter celestron power seeker, which is also a 70 millimeter. It's probably an f8, f9 type of thing. I'm pretty sure I know what it is because it's a metal construction. I know the eyepieces in Barlow Finder scope is not that great, but at least it's, I think, a better telescope. I think it's going to produce some okay. Again, we're talking about the low entry stuff here, so yeah, I think it's going to be better, but we'll wait and see. Now, going back to the Barska, I have a suspicion that the lens is not even, I don't even think it's glass, to tell you the truth. I mean, I can't say for sure, because you can't take the dew cap off, and I don't want to break it since I'm returning it. So, but just giving it a little knock with my finger, I don't think it's glass. I think it's, if it is glass, it's cheap glass, but I just have a suspicion it might be a plastic lens like you find in the most cheapest entry-level garbage telescope. So sorry, if you see this, just bypass it. Just go to something better. I think you gotta go double in price to get something decent. Again, I've used several of the 80 mil f5 refractors, which those are not perfect on planets either, because they're short tubes, they're wide field telescopes. But I know from remembering what I saw, you can see craters on the moon, valleys, you can see mountain ranges. It's going to have lots of colors, sure, but at least I know what to expect out of that. And I was hoping this would be similar, just a little smaller scope, and it's not. I think it's a plastic lens maybe, or maybe if it is glass, maybe it's a singlet. It's hard to say. I don't want to take it apart and then not be able to return it. So I'm just going to say stay away from this guy altogether. Get something better. Cheers.